How are you guys doing? So I just got back from Africa and I had a wonderful trip and with wonderful people, and we learned a lot and we really roughed it. I'm gonna make a video about that, one for the church that's short and then one for everybody else that's longer. So we're super excited. But I had a wonderful helper today, and she's gonna remain nameless, but we did a bunch of work today. So we did house wrap, and then we put in windows. We still got to put in 2 doors and 3 more windows. We also decked all this roof today, and then we built the soffit and stuff. So that was pretty exciting. And then I've got a serious question for you guys. What happens if you get scared half to death twice? Good one. So it has occurred to me that maybe some of you guys have forgotten stuff that you learned in geometry. And you're thinking to yourself, I want to do this home project, but I don't know how to figure out square footage. You're in luck. I know how to figure out square footage. And in this case, we're going to figure out triangle footage. I know what you're thinking. That sounds stupid. It is. All right, so if we want to figure out square footage, you would take your length times your height, right? So in this case, this is 38 feet long. So we're going to take 38 feet. And we're 9 feet tall, so you take 9 feet tall, and then that's going to be 342 square feet. Okay, so this is 342 square feet on the rectangle part. But how do I do a triangle, John? I'm glad you asked. So this triangle goes 43 feet over here, okay? And the way to figure out a triangle square footage, or a triangle footage, is you do 1/2 base times height. So 1/2 base times height, okay? So the base is 43 feet, and then it's 12 feet tall to the middle. So we'll take half of that. So that's 6 times 43 leaves us with 258 square feet, plus that is 600 square feet along this side of the house. And that's how many square feet there are. Now, I hope you learned a valuable lesson. So what else do we want to talk about? Africa? Perfect. I guess you guys are all wanting to know some cool stuff. While we were there, we had guards in our camp. So there's a couple of different tribes that were in one village, if you will, and they were all like, you have to hire our guards. And we're like, fine, whatever. We help out the economy by paying people for stuff that we don't necessarily need. So we had about 20 guards to guard 4 of us, which seems a little ridiculous. Most of them sat around. I'm gonna be honest with you. They gathered some firewood, which was nice, and they kind of helped out and they talked to us, and that was all good. But there was 2 guys that really did a lot of work. One of them was Thomas. This guy cooked constantly. He was always preparing stuff. He was cleaning all the silverware and all the pots and pans and everything, cleaning all the animals, butchering the animals. He also played music at night. He made his own instrument. He was great at archery and just like an overall good guy. And so we were like, we want to give him a bigger share than the other people got because he did more work. So I played this game with him, and I was like, I tried to guess all their ages, and then I found out I was wrong. And then some of them don't even know how old they are, because it's always summertime there, so there's no way to be like, I've been alive for however many winters, because they're right by the equator. And so 2 of the kids were just like, I don't have any clue how old I am. And apparently that's a common thing over there. But I guessed their ages, and I was right on some and wrong on most. And I was like, okay, you guys can guess my age. So they did, and Thomas happened to get it right. So then I was like, and the prize is, and I went over to him, I was like, you can either have my tent or my sleeping bag when I leave. And he's like, so excited, like, I want this so bad. And so he ends up saying, can I have your tent? And I'm like, you can totally have my tent. So he's like smiling the rest of the day, like, I get a tent. Like, I don't have to sleep on the dirt, which is so nice for them. Anyway, then James, when we're about ready to leave, he says, Thomas, you've done hard work. You can take your choice of everything I've got here. And James had a bigger tent. And so Thomas was like, I think I want the bigger tent. So then we're thinking like, how are we gonna deal with this? Because he's gonna get 2 tents and nobody else is gonna get any tents. Well, we left for a bit and we came back, and he came to us and he said, look, it's not fair that I get 2 tents and everybody else gets no tents. So why don't you guys just leave everything you're gonna leave, and we'll divide it equally and fairly among everybody. And I thought that was really sweet, that nobody wants to be greedy. Greed is a big bad thing over there. Like lust and, I don't know, fear are kind of a big thing here in America. Over there, like, greed is the biggest thing. If you're greedy, you're a piece of crap, and that's all there is to it. And so he didn't want to be greedy. He didn't want to have more than everybody else. He didn't think it was fair that he had 2 tents and everybody else had no tents. And so he was like, I'm going to make sure to take what I've been given, which is a lot, by the way, and distribute it evenly. Why I say it's a lot? My tent cost me about 50 bucks. Couldn't care less, right? One of the guys there, Asamari, told me that his house cost 150,000 Tanzanian shillings. and the house next door was $75,000. And I did the math on that, and one of them, a whole house, cost $64, and the house next door cost $32. And I gave them a tent that was worth $50. So if that puts it in perspective, like, it's almost like getting a house, and then it keeps you dry at night. So I thought that was pretty cool. Hopefully you guys learned something here. Yeah. So maybe you're sitting at your house and you're thinking to yourself, I would love to have some attic stairs, or maybe some new attic stairs. But then you put it in and you're like, but look at this, I'll show you a problem. That doesn't look right. That looks like a bad place right there. See that gap, and it's not sitting right? So like, how do you know how to cut this the right way? Let me show you. So you take this, move it back up, and then hold it like this, then you can measure, and keep your tape measure on the same plane here, right? You're like, okay, it looks like I need 33 3/4. And then that, if we do that, and then here's our angle, because they provide these cool feet, or you can figure it out, it's a 22.5 degree angle. Then we make, so we go right here, 33 3/4. And then we get the angle here, 5/12, like that. And we'll cut that, okay? So I'm not gonna do it right now because, you know, it's boring and hurts your ears to do that, but I'm gonna cut that and we'll put it back on and see how it lands. I'll show you the difference. Also, I just wanna say, yesterday's video was really windy because yesterday was really windy. I think there was Hurricane, I don't know, Eli came through here and towed it up. And I was thinking about it last night because I couldn't sleep, and I was like, we should have wore windbreakers. That really would have broken the wind. I think that's the words I'm looking for. Also, people who say never are hypocrites, because right there in that one sentence, they already said it twice. Let's see if it worked. I told you guys that we were gonna cut this ladder so that it would be the right angle and everything, and then we put the hardware back on, and let's just see. I don't know, it's first try. See if the tape measure lies. I don't know. This part came down, that's good. And then, no way. Look at that. Would you just look at that? And then let's see if it works. It totally works. Now, I just want to say that a lot of you are ugly. I'm ugly too. But being kind makes you the most beautiful person in the world. There you go. We're gonna go get lunch. Good morning. So last couple days have been stupid windy, and we worked on inside stuff, kind of finishing up little things here and there. But today we're gonna work on hardy siding. So soon this will look more like a house and less like a, I don't know, like a kid's project for school that they did at the last second. Like, oh, hey, by the way, Mom, I know it's 11 o'clock at night, but I got a science fair project due in the morning. That's kind of what this looks like right now, but real soon it's gonna look like a house. So I'm super excited about that. All right, so I want to talk to you guys about something that I think is important. Throughout my many years, because I'm ancient now, people have said things to me, stupid things, like this. John, you really think I'm gonna go to hell just because I fill in the blank, smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol, do some drugs, whatever in the world, right? And I'm like, my short answer is no. Like, number A, you're on your way to hell anyway. Jesus is gonna save you from that, so that's important. But our pastor brought up a real good point several years back. And our Christian walk is equated to running a race. And in the analogy, it says that many run the race, but there's only one winner, right? So run this race like it matters, because it does matter, right? Like, I can't think of anything more horrifying than you finally get to Judgment Day, like, oh, no. And you're like, darn it, this is real consequences. I really should have taken this a lot more seriously. So he said, our pastor, Gary, who is wonderful, used to run track, and he still follows track and sports and things like that, things I don't follow. But he said that when they do, when the runners run their race, they wear like the lightest shoes possible. You pick it up, you're like, this is like a feather. And like the lightest clothes, and a lot of them like shave so they don't get any wind resistance off their hair, and just all this stuff, like to go to extreme measures. Like, if I do this a little bit, then I'll get 3% more, I don't know, whatever. Because it really matters to them, like that little bit, it puts you ahead, right, and wins you the race. And so he said, what if somebody came and said, look, is there a rule against me hanging a 50-pound weight around my neck when I run this race? And you could tell the judges would be like, well, technically no, but it's pretty dumb. Like, why would you want to do that? Like, you're gonna have such a hard time. Can I run this race with tires on my shoes? You're like, yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna stop you, but like, I don't think you're gonna win like that. And so I think with bad habits, a lot of times you're like, is that gonna send you to hell? Probably not. But like, do you want to run your race like it matters? Because this stuff is not going to help you, right? Like every step of the way, like anything that you can do to like trim off fat and run your race better, I think matters more. So I think that's a pretty good lesson in life for all of us, is what can you take out of your life to minimize your life and the resistance. Life is hard already. So why in the world make it harder? Like, I'm gonna put the siding up today. There's no way that I'm gonna be carrying all that lumber on my back while I'm putting the siding up, because it's just gonna be difficult. Like, is there a rule against it? No. Would people allow it? Sure. Would people be like, wow, you did it? I guess. But man, is that a dumb way to live your life? So anyway, I hope that helps. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, what is today, Saturday? Hope you're having a wonderful Saturday or whenever you watch this video. Love you, man. Bye. So it's been about 28 minutes and we did hardy siding. We didn't trim it out yet, so don't hate. And we haven't caulked or painted yet, so also don't hate. But we did all this all the way around. We lack a few boards on the back, and we haven't done the far side yet, but we got quite a bit of stuff done today. So that's very, very exciting. Tomorrow, the roof goes on. I will be at church, but tomorrow they're gonna put the roof on, and so you'll notice a significant difference. Now, what I want to talk to you guys today about is the bronze serpent. Now, a lot of you are thinking, what are you talking about, John? Well, I'm glad you asked. So in the Old Testament, Moses, if you remember, Moses led all the Jews out of Egypt. Moses was like, hey, let my people go. There's 10 plagues. Finally, they get out of Egypt. They're out in the middle of the desert, and they disobey God like continually. When Moses is up on Mount Sinai getting the 10 commandments, they're down at the bottom making a golden calf. And God is like, I am going to kill them all. And Moses is like, please, please, please don't kill them all. And he sends all kinds of plagues. And finally, he sends all these serpents. And these serpents are everywhere, and they're poisonous and venomous, whatever. And they're biting everybody, and people are dying in huge numbers. And Moses goes to God and says, please, please, please don't kill all your people, because otherwise what will be said about you is that you delivered all your people out of Egypt and then brought them out in the middle of nowhere to die. Is that what you want your reputation to be? And so God is like, okay, fine. We're gonna wait for this car to pass. And so he says, set up a very tall pole and put a bronze serpent up at the top of this pole. And anybody who gets bit by a snake, if they look at the bronze serpent, they will be healed. And you're thinking, why? But it worked, right? And the faith of the people that God said, if you just look at the serpent, if you can just see it, then you'll be healed, is pretty amazing. But it happened, and they'd get bit, and they'd look up, and they'd be healed. They wouldn't die. And so that is actually a foreshadowing of Jesus on the cross, so that when Jesus is on the cross, dying for our sins, that if we look to him, even though we're dying spiritually and in real life, that we will be saved and we'll be healed. And so that is a pretty beautiful story. And also, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the medical symbol now that has the snakes wrapped around the thing. So I just think that's a cool story. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. Definitely get to church. Look, your time is short. You might as well do it right. And a lot of people, I feel like they think maybe they're missing out. Like, oh, if I become a Christian, if I decide I'm gonna follow God, you're missing out. Nothing could be farther from the truth. I just want to encourage you. Like, I used to live just a god-awful life. I'm sure most of you know. If not, I got a book and videos, all kinds of things about it. But I've been so ridiculously happy. I'm not just like stupid happy, like, oh, I don't know what's going on, but like genuine joy from inside of me to know that God saved me. Like, my life is fuller, happier. I do wonderful things all the time. Is my life hard? Yeah. Is it painful? Absolutely. But since I decided to follow God, I just got to say my life is so much better. So I would encourage you, like, why in the world wait? Just do the right thing now while you still have time. All right, love you guys. See you soon. So yesterday was Sunday, and of course I go to church on Sunday and I don't work, but my roofer worked, and so as you can clearly tell, the roof is on, and I'm really ridiculously happy about that. We also finished up the siding today, which is pretty nice, and we got trim around windows, doors, a freeze board. So a freeze board, if you remember, if you got your siding and then your eave, then the freeze board comes up against that. So it comes up right there, and it trims off that end, and it makes it look more finished. We trimmed out the door and the windows and things. We've got a little bit more to do on the other side and on the back, but overall, we are pretty happy. So I want to talk to you guys about the King's Road. And first of all, I'm going to apologize to Gary, our pastor, because I steal a lot of his sermons. I borrow, I retell. So anyway, he told a while back about this king, and this king decided that he wanted to make a highway through his land, and he was very excited about it because this highway was going to connect one end to the other, and it was a very nice highway. And so to celebrate, right before they opened the highway, he said, we're gonna have a contest, and whoever travels this road the best will win a chest filled with gold. And so everybody's like, ooh, did you stop it? No. So everybody's like, ooh, I want a chest full of gold. And they come out and they're riding in chariots, and they're riding in elegance, and they've got like catering in their, I don't know, chariot. And some people run, and some people are taking animals, but everybody's trying to like go on this road the best way and really impress the king. So at the finish line, they're coming across one by one, and the king's like, you look very good, whatever. And like, hey, look, you got a big pile of rocks right in the middle of the road, and we had to go around, and it was real inconvenient. We had to get out in the dirt and in the mud, and it really kind of messed up our thing. That's why we're so muddy, and so we want to apologize, but you probably ought to fix that. And he's like, noted. And so everybody just kept coming across, and they all commented to the king like, hey, by the way, there's this huge pile of rocks in the way, and we all had to get muddy, and so we're sorry that we're dirty. And finally, close to the end of the day, this guy comes in. He's just filthy, dirty, he's all scratched up and bleeding and everything, and he's got this chest, and he says, hey, look, there's a big pile of rocks on the road, and I thought it would be really hard for everybody else to get across here, and so I moved those rocks out of the way for you. I found this chest at the bottom of it. I'm pretty sure it's yours. And the king goes, that's where you're wrong. That chest is yours because you have traveled that road in the best way. You have made it better for everybody behind you. You have seen that there's a problem, and rather than just ignoring it or blaming somebody else or whatever, you have taken the rocks out of the way and cleared the path for somebody else so that their path is easier from here on out. And so that pot of gold, that chest of gold, is now yours. And I thought that was a pretty cool story. Also, anything else you want to talk about? Whatever your name is. Well, I just feel really dumb for putting LeBron James on my fantasy football team. And so for all the sports fans out there, please help me because I don't know anything, obviously. Anyway, tomorrow we're gonna do some. So I haven't made a video in a minute as far as a construction video because I was in Africa. I'm sorry. Also, I've been busy. I was acting in something, and that was a lot of fun. But we are in the dry, which means that siding's on, roof is on, windows and doors are in, so water does not get into the house. We've got our plumbing, rough plumbing done. So first remember we did we brought in the sewer tap, and that was a bunch of fun. Then before we poured the slab, we did all the PVC pipes. Then once the slab is poured, then you kind of come up and you do all your PEX and all your rough plumbing, and then at the end, once sheetrock's up and everything, then you do your top out, your final. But this house right now, tomorrow they're gonna put heat and air in, and I'm super excited about that. That's Bob Cameron. We're gonna talk to him tomorrow because he's amazing. But this house right now is pre-wired for wireless. And by that I mean, there's blue boxes around, and that's where the outlets and stuff are gonna go. But there's no wires in it because it's wireless. Also, another fun fact, did you know that it never snows on the sun? Not even on the North Pole of the sun. And one last thing, never trust a girl who was born on her birthday. Now you know. We're filming.
Oh, we're good.
So you guys probably sitting at home in whatever country you're in, whatever state you're in, and whatever time you actually watch this are probably cold. I know I am. Are you cold?
It is cold this morning, yes.
But
yes.
We have a solution. Are you ready for this? Go stand in the corner. It's 90 degrees.
Oh.
No, just kidding. It's a real solution. Okay? And this solution, Bob Cameron does amazing heat and air work. And maybe you're like, it's so uncomfortably cold or hot, fill in the blank, outside. He can fix that for you using nothing more than magic and science and hard work.
That's right. Very little money. Yeah.
He's actually incredibly affordable. So I've known Bob for 26 years now, and he's been doing my heat and air for 26 years now. And there's never been a time I'm like, I'm so disappointed in you, Bob. You didn't do what you said you were going to do, and you were unfair on your price. Never.
Never. Thank you.
Not one time.
Yes.
He's pretty much an amazing guy. He's got lots of tips for you. What you got? Anything?
You know, anything that we do, we kind of stand behind our work, you know, and that's why John relies on us.
That's a true story.
You know, we're going to be honest and tell you the truth.
That's true story.
Whether it's hard to swallow or not. And so we do take care of you as far as getting out there as quickly as possible, getting the job done, completed as quickly as possible, and in the best possible manner.
All that's true. I was looking for a different kind of tip. Like, for example, I found out recently that cashews, contrary to popular belief, are not filled with cash. Do you have any tips like that?
My mind does not think quite like that, but I do have a tip. You know, keep your air filters clean. That will save your equipment as much as possible. Yes, change your air filter.
Is that like picking your nose, but for your air conditioning system?
Pretty much, it's comfortable. Yeah, makes things a little more comfortable. Let you breathe a little bit better.
Get the boogers out.
Yeah.
I hate when my nose smells like boogers. It's horrible. Also, I recently found out, and kiss me if I'm wrong here, that Navy SEALs are not actually SEALs. They're people. Did you know this?
I kind of figured that one out pretty easy.
You are so much smarter than me. I don't even know what to say. All right, so probably in about 28 minutes, Bob's gonna have this whole thing done and ready for us, and we'll be like trudging along, like, la-di-da, I guess we'll do some work or whatever.
My guys will get in and get after it.
It's a true story. They're amazing, and if it's hot, it doesn't matter. If it's cold, it doesn't matter. They're amazing people.
Yeah, no matter what the weather, we'll do it.
Kind of like the post office, only the post office gave up for COVID. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, I need to get a wire through this top stud down here, but how do I get it and not put some big gaping hole? Well, here's the answer. You have somebody else do it for you. So, Tuck put this wire down the wall, and then Josh is over here, and he's bent some solder, and he's going to fish it out of there. Because he's a genius. Let's see if this works.
Are you talking about the obstacle illusion?
Yeah, well,
you gotta elude the obstacles.
the obstacle illusion.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. What?
Oh, it's right there.
What in the? Yep. Look at this. This guy.
You gonna be able to get back in there with that sword?
Oh, he's got it.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Yeah.
If there's one thing he's good at, it's everything. Tell him. And that's how it's done, son. Now you learn. See, not some big ginormous hole, just the power of your mind, and also a little hook that you made out of some solder. There you go. All right, love you too, bye. So, a lot of you are probably sitting there thinking to yourself, how do you wire up a circuit and what does that mean? How do you wire up a breaker box and a breaker and things like that? So I'm going to dumb this down for you. I had my electrician come do this and he explained it to me in full detail so that now I can explain it to you. All right, so this is your breaker box, okay? This looks like a mess right now because we're still missing some breakers, but you've got a hot coming in. This is from the telephone pole. And then another hot coming in. It's actually underground wire, but whatever. And then you got a neutral coming in. This is not energized yet. That's why I can touch it. If you're wondering what will hurt you, this right here. So this connects to this breaker, at which point it brings power back to the back of this panel, and it's every other one. And so that's 110. And then this makes it 220, right? So then if one of these hits two, if it's this side and this side, then it's a 220, okay? This is your neutral, or sorry, this is your ground bar. You can see all your ground wires are in here, and there's a ground wire that goes outside to an actual ground rod that goes 10 feet into the ground. That's why it's called a ground. Your neutral comes, this is your neutral bar. As you can tell, your neutral and your ground are connected, so that's normal, okay? So then from there, let's say you got a single breaker, like this 20 amp, okay? And then so the ground goes here, the neutral goes here, and the black comes up and goes onto the breaker. So the power comes up through here and breakers off, but then once you turn it on, then it goes up here. Okay, so we're gonna follow that. Now imagine, this is how a circuit works, okay? So that breaker, imagine just one breaker, and it comes up through here, all right? So we got one wire that's coming up through here. Come on. And then this wire comes in through here, okay? So you got power coming in, and then you got power going out, and that power goes to this outlet over here. Then that power comes over to this outlet over here. Then it comes out to this outlet over here. then it comes around to this outlet, then to one outside that hasn't been, the hole hasn't been cut yet, then around over to here, and then over to there, and then up to a single light in the closet. Okay, and so how does the switch part work? You're like, how does all this work, right? So on an outlet, I don't have one with me, you got two, like, you have a neutral and a hot, a black and a white. But then you can have a bunch of them in there. Like, you could put a mess of them in there on either side and it would still work. But how does the switch work? Okay, so your whites you bypass, your neutrals you bypass, and you twist those together, and then you put a wire nut on it, and then push that in the back of the box, okay? Your grounds, you twist those together, and then this is one for each switch, right? And then the way that we mark these go to the lights is we kind of twist them like this. And so then this is a hot coming in and a hot coming out, right? So these would go to one side of each side of the switch, and then you tie these together, right? And so then this side would be hot, at which point you bring your hot power in and then back out to the outlets. And so then all the other outlets still have hot power. But this will be on another side of the switch, and when you turn that switch on, then it connects this power to the light, and then the light turns on, or to the fan, and the fan turns on. And that is, in the simplest possible way, how a breaker works and how a switch works and how a circuit works, right? So usually you want to do 8 to 12 on average openings per circuit, but it really depends on a lot of things. So probably a lot of you should not be wiring things, but in case some of you are curious and you're just like, hey, how does that work? I've never seen a house opened up. That's how it works. All right, love you guys. Hope you have a great day.
Anyone who says there is no life after death has obviously never died. I was high as a kite by the time I got there. I dropped 5 hits of acid that night. I made it through the first 2 bands before I started peaking. Then it happened. The pivotal point of my life had arrived. I fell back in my chair, and I couldn't move for a long time. I started to panic, but still, I couldn't move. After what seemed like an eternity, I sat up and looked back at my seat, only to see myself still in it. I freaked out. I quickly put my hands on my eyes to hide from the horror of it all. But when I did, my left eye jumped out of my head and began to twitch around in my hand. I shoved my eye back in my skull and ran my fingers through my hair towards the back of my head. When I did, my ears twisted inside my head and disappeared. They made this awful sucking noise that was horrifying. I felt a big flap in the back of my head that I reached my hand into. I was more than a little scared at this point. I looked around, and I wasn't at a concert anymore. I didn't know where I was, but it felt like hell to me. But that couldn't be. I didn't even believe in hell. I was only 16 years old. I couldn't die yet. I looked for my friends, but they were all gone. In their place were demons haunting me. They were flying around and taunting me. The things I saw were undescribable. My body started falling apart. Limbs were falling off, and the pain was torturous. I realized that hell wasn't just a myth or a fable. It was a real place, and I was there. A Wretch Like Me by John Tennell. Available on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.